morning. What a great conference this has been so far. I've really enjoyed my time here. Had great conversations in the hallways and at tables and in boardrooms, and I've really enjoyed the focus on the human aspect of AI and what does it mean to be human. I think that question came up earlier today. But also the ethics question that we're thinking about now and maybe don't have all the answers for yet, but are thinking about. I think that's really important. I look forward to that conversation continuing. That's not what I'm here to talk about. My name is Ben Amundgaard. For those of you who don't know me, I work for BiblioNexus. And this morning, I'd like to talk to you about filling the aquifer, leveraging AI to streamline multilingual editing and translation at a global scale. That is a Claude-generated title, I will say, slightly edited by me. As long as there's several of the outline aspects, I've tried to work in tandem here with Claude in particular, which I prefer. In this talk, we're going to be looking a little bit about what the Bible Aquifer is, for those of you who don't know, what we're doing to fill it, go over some things we've learned, and then give a quick demo of what we've been building, what we've been working on so far. Told not to panic if this didn't happen. There we are. So, what is the Bible Aquifer and what are we doing to fill it? So BiblioNexus exists to support Bible translation throughout the world, especially in areas where there isn't Bible translations currently in people's heart languages. The Bible Aquifer exists to equip the church to do its part to fulfill the All-Access goals laid out by E10. Imagine an underground aquifer filled with water that's freely available for anyone to tap into if they have a well. The water is clean and drinkable, and moreover, it's replenished as the rainwater comes through and filters through the sedimentary rock, so that there's always enough water there for anybody to access if they want to drill a well. That's the image that we've used for the Bible Aquifer. The Bible Aquifer is a repository of interconnected resources that are openly licensed and freely available to anybody who needs them. We're going to make them available in 25 of the most important gateway languages in the world. The Bible Aquifer will have every type of resource available for the church to produce and check Bible translations in its heart languages. Resources like Greek and Hebrew texts, gateway language Bibles, Bible dictionaries, translation notes, lexicons, study notes, etc. The resources will be available through a set of APIs that people can tap into with their own app. We've also built our own app to tap into the aquifer called the Bible Well. You can visit that today at app.well.bible. With all the QR codes, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself for not putting one up here, but it's easy enough, app.well.bible. So that's a brief look at what the aquifer is. And now I want to look at what we're doing to fill it. So the first thing that we do when we find a resource that needs to go into the aquifer is what we call Aquiferization. So what starts with, and those of you who are at the E10 Summit will be familiar with this, we start with an English resource that may have been written for a largely American Western audience and take the English and edit it so that it's more accessible for a global English audience. So it's a couple of things, right? One would be simplifying the language, not necessarily dumbing it down, but simplifying it and ensuring there are words there that can be understood by global English speakers, but also taking words or concepts that might have been written for an American audience, right? Concepts like liberty or freedom. If you're doing an article on freedom in Christ, for example, where writing to an American, you could assume a certain understanding of that, given that the place of those concepts in American identity, that maybe somebody an English speaker in Africa or India wouldn't have. And so trying to unpack those things so that the English speakers using the aquifer resources can access them. So that's just briefly what Aquiferization is. Obviously, that's really well positioned for use of an LLM to do that kind of work, which I'll get to in a bit. Moving on to translation. So our goal is to translate the aquifer into the 25 languages that are if you look at the E10 Innovation Labs Strategic Languages Initiative, there are 25 languages that are in resource categories 3 and 4. Those are the languages we're hoping to translate to. We're not going to do all 25 in 2024. We're hoping to do 9 in 2024, and then up to around 13 to 16 in 2025, and then I'll get up to 25 languages in 2026. In 2024, we're going to be working on French, Spanish, Portuguese, Hindi, Arabic, Swahili, Chinese, Indonesian, and Russian. And just a quick note, these are the languages that we're working on, but we would love to work with people. If you are working on a Bible translation or know somebody that could benefit from open resources in a particular language, please come and talk to me or one of my colleagues, and there might be an opportunity for partnership there. Our plan is to translate somewhere between 5 and 8 million words per language for a total output of around 50 million words of content in 2024. We're going to scale that up to 7 to 10 million source words in 2025, and then up over 10 million in 2026, aiming for about 250 million translated words per year. I keep forgetting this. That puts us on track to translate almost 1 billion words over the next 5 years of content that will go into the Aquifer. To give a quick sense of how many people this will impact, by 2025, 3 out of every 4 people in the world will be able to understand and read Aquifer content in a gateway language that they can understand. We're hoping to get 94% of gateway language coverage by 2026 and beyond, so that vast majority of people can have content in a language that they can understand and do Bible translation. Of course, we have to leverage AI if we're hoping to accomplish this. A traditional kind of translation approach won't really cut it. Moving on to audio. So we recognize that regardless of what language people speak, most of the people groups that don't have Bibles available to them are primarily oral cultures, which means their primary way of communicating is auditory. So we can have all this great text stuff in the Aquifer, but if it's not available to listen to, it doesn't do a lot of good to a lot of people. So we're looking to make everything in the Aquifer available in audio, from Bibles to Bible dictionary articles, in some form or another. We want it all to be available through audio. This is an aspirational goal. We'd have to do somewhere just short of 4,000 hours of audio per language that we did, but we really believe that we want to be sort of audio first in how we're thinking about this, and make sure that that's not a second level consideration. So that's a brief overview of what we've been hoping to fill the Aquifer with, and that's a lot of content that we're hoping to edit, translate, and record. And we're going to be leveraging various forms of AI to do that, to get that work done. And we've got a long way to go to get there. We've not done everything, but we've done enough to share with you a few insights that I think are informative and interesting, and I'd like to share 3 with you. So the first insight that we've had is very much that humans are required in the process. I think we went into this with a perhaps naive optimism, maybe, that we would be able to do a lot more with whether it's a large language model or neural machine translation. We would be able to do a lot more with a less human touch, but we were disabused of that notion fairly quickly on as we went into the process, as what we got back was not up to quality standards at all. It needed some human editing and work. So I wanted to give you a couple examples of what we saw. So here, we're using large language models both for translation and for Aquiferization. So here's an example of Aquiferization. On the top left, there's an article from the article on Ammon in the Tyndale Bible Dictionary. Talks about how the territory of Ammon was once occupied by a race of giants. When we ran it through an LLM, it made a connection between the Ammonites and that race of giants, something that would be fairly big news if there were evidence for that, and nothing that the dictionary, was making that claim at all. Another example for the title for the article on heart, it simplified it for us to core. We see what it's trying to do and what it's doing there, but kind of missing the mark, and it just wasn't up to the quality standards that we had set out for it. Same is true for translation. So you can see at the left there, that's the English source, and then this is a French machine translation. I don't speak French. Probably some people do, but I trust my colleagues a lot, and they've told me that this is representative of some of the problems that we faced. And you can see those in red there. I won't go through them, but it's a similar kind of thing where it's using the wrong words, not necessarily paying attention to context, and adding in sentences where it might not need to be or certainly isn't helpful. And so these were the kinds of things, the norm that we were facing across both English and translation as we sought to leverage LLMs and neural machine translation. So we decided to build out a team of humans throughout the world to work with the AI to improve the translation quality and still maintain scale. So we appointed an English editor for our Aquifer content who is setting guidelines and standards that we can hopefully use to train, to feed to an LLM that will maintain quality more for us there. We've built out language teams across the globe. You can see on the map there that are doing translation for us. We've got general editors in place for each of those languages. And we've built out documentation that they can use then to reference the work. And so we found that we can still leverage machine translation to its fullest, but we have these teams in place who are able to quickly post-edit, pivot fast, get stuff back out there, and we're still able to take advantage of the scale that's there. However, building out this large network of people created several other problems for us, which brings us to insight number 2, and that's that file reconstruction was really a challenge for us. So we started off with people working on files mainly in XML and Markdown, and we sent these files out. We thought we would get them back in relatively good shape, but what we found was that there was all kinds of extra tagging, or things got added in, the files came back malformed, and so it was difficult to then go in and apply our tagging for the Aquifer. And so there's several reasons that happened. First, LLMs aren't consistent, right? Like you can ask the same question over and over again and get a slightly different answer, right? So if you're sending tags, you're sending marked up text, you're getting it back, sometimes it's different. Different organizations handle files differently, so some, depending on their translation approach or things like that, some people, they just handle them differently. We're working with all those different organizations, right, and different people. And then kind of the opposite of my last point, which is that humans aren't very good at handling files. They are not terribly great at making sure that all the formatting and everything stays consistent across the files. So we found that we were running into these problems. And just to give you a kind of example of what I mean, so this is an article from the Bible Aquifer on the genealogy of Jesus Christ. If you look at the top there, we render that genealogy of Jesus Christ as an H1. You can imagine someone rendering that with 16-point bold Arial font, or an image or some other thing. We saw all those coming in back from the teams as we were getting translation. And so it became clear that the only way to ensure file formatting stayed intact throughout the editing and translation process was to have people do the editing and translation work itself in the Aquifer, which leads me to our final kind of insight that I'd like to share, and that's that we needed a custom solution. It's obvious that the translation task we're taking on is massive and brings with it a unique set of challenges. We're working with multiple resource types: lexicons, translation notes, Bible dictionaries, Bibles, all kinds of different resource types. We're in different file types. We're starting in markup, XML, docx, PDF, all kinds of different file types. We're working on different platforms as partners. So I think Spence talked yesterday about our partnership with Lilt. We've used SmartCat, Crowdin, Google Docs, Office, all kinds of different platforms various people use. Multiple languages, obviously that's the main focus of what we're doing here. Multiple file types, multiple translation styles. So different companies approach translation in different ways. Different translators do that in different ways in terms of how they break down, chunk things up. We're working with different machine translation models, right? So we worked with Lilt's model, Serval or Axe2. We're hoping to wire up and work with them. We've used ChatGPT. As Daniel mentioned, we've partnered with them on identifying some LLMs to do some work for us. So multiple models, multiple organizations, and all in parallel across 13 countries and 5 continents. So it is a very unique And I think we felt that it was better to build our own solution, and we really needed to. So what I'd like to introduce you today, the last part of the talk, is to Aquifer TMS CMS. It's what we've built to manage the translation process and to do the translation. It's available, we're using it primarily for things that are going into the Aquifer, but our hope is that if it's valuable, that other people could use it for doing translation and content management. So we'll switch over to the demo. I'm hooking right up to this screen, so I have to turn my screen this way to see it. I'm doing a live demo, by the way, just to prove that I have the guts to do it. That's right. If it's either I have the guts to do it and we shouldn't do it. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so this is the Bible Aquifer TMS CMS backend. Just to give you a brief kind of orientation. Got our dashboard. So you come in and you've got work that's assigned, articles that need to be translated or edited, articles that are in review, and then projects that you're managing here. We've got a list of resources, so by language and resource type, all the resources that are in the Aquifer can be opened from here and edited or translated or managed from here. We've built in really robust reporting into the Aquifer, so we can track progress of translation and Aquiferization projects, but also downloads and usage and things like that. So we're building that all in to the back end of the Aquifer. But what I'd like to show you quickly is what we've built out to manage projects. So you can see there's several projects ongoing in the Aquifer right now that we're working with other partners with Wycliffe on some. But this is our project management. So I'll just walk through that a little bit and talk about a few things. So go up to the screen, click create. This is our project. We'll do Ben's Missional AI project. Select the language. I'm going to select Spanish because it's the only thing I know anything about. Project manager. So this is a person inside BiblioNexus that's managing a project. So company. This is where it's I think is a key point of how we've built this out. So we've built it out so that we can partner with companies across the Bible translation world or outside of Bible translation to use the platform, to hook up to the platform and use it. So we're building it out intentionally from the beginning with partnership in mind. But I'll select internal. Same with platform. So we've done some work with Lilt as a platform. We've also got, like I said, SmartCat, CrowdIn. This is built to manage not just content on the Aquifer, but if someone does have content that they're working on with another platform, we want to be able to integrate with that and create kind of an overall management process for that. And then, so I'll select Aquifer for that. And this would be the company lead. So this is set up so that we can assign this out to another complete team that's managing a project with a project manager, and that would be the company lead in that part. Then we get on here, select our resource. So I'm going to do the Tyndale study notes, Book of Genesis. We'll go with chapter 11. Oh. Chapter 11, and then this will pull up for me all the Tyndale study notes that are tagged to Genesis chapter 11. And move these over into, I can move them one at a time or all at the same time, move them over into my project, and then I think I should be able to hit create. Here we are. Move this closer. Oh, don't tell me I just unplugged this, did I? There we are. Loose cable. All right. So here is the beginning of our project. So we go in, we've got all the resources and everything here. We've got a quote that we've got to create. So one of the ways that we're doing this is tracking effective words. So we're using translation memory. So if things have already been translated, we're not going to have to go back and retranslate every word. So let's just say there's 1,000 effective words 1,200, 1,300 source words, and it's going to cost $500. Delivery date, we'll go with the end of the month. Publication date, we'll go with the end of next month to give me time to review it. Then you click Start, creates the project. So this brings you back to the main project view. And from in here, the project manager could go in and assign out different articles to different people on the team for translation. I'll open one and just start and kind of show you what we've built here. So open up. So I've got here the English source text and then the text that I'll be working to translate to. You can see our markup and tagging on it here. We've got this button that says Translate with AI. So we've also got AI Aquiferize, you'll see at the top. So we're doing both English editorial and translation here. So once I hit this, it's going to call. I think we've got it hooked up to GPT 3.5 right now, but we're building it to integrate with various models, and our hope is to collect, as translations come back, we'll collect data from our translators on which models have done better and which models have performed more poorly. And then we can grade them and sort of pick the model and here's the best model you're going to be using for Spanish. So here's my Spanish translation. I go in here. You can do your work, post-editing. We've got commenting functionality coming soon. I just saw it in our QA environment last night. So you can go comment. And then once you've done all the work, you can send it to review, or you can assign it to another user for review, but send it to review. That sends it back to BiblioNexus for our final review. Gives me a warning. And then because I'm a publisher and reviewing it, I can click review, assign it to myself, look it over, looks good. And because this is in production, I won't hit publish, but I could hit publish, and then it would be available through the APIs and through the Bible well. So that is Aquifer TMS. That's the project we're building to fill the aquifer with. Please, I know there's not a lot of time left in the day, but if you have questions or thoughts or want to learn more or wonder how this might help your team, please come and talk to me or one of my colleagues at BiblioNexus. Thank you so much for your time.